Hello everyone and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Today we are talking about Mufasa, the Lion King. This is the prequel to the 2019 Lion King, which was a quote-unquote live-action remake of the animated classic, even though it's technically just another animated movie, but with a different type of animation. In case you're new to the channel, my thoughts on the 2019 version of The Lion King. I didn't like that movie, which was really disappointing because I thought Jon Favreau did a great job with the Jungle Book remake in 2016. I just think that it didn't really carry over to the 2019 Lion King. It felt like a pretty much beat-for-beat remake, but made a little bit worse with the lack of expressionism and the lack of certain story beats and details in favor of just photorealism. Like, that seemed to be like the primary concern, and so overall that film just didn't really work for me. I didn't really like it. I was not expecting much out of Mufasa from the idea of it, but upon learning a while ago when they started making this thing that Barry Jenkins would be directing it, I got very intrigued by that, because this does not seem like the type of film that normally he would do, but hey, let's go see what this film has to offer. I saw the film the day before the review embargo, and I was going to do my review and post it when the embargo dropped, but I was just really tired, and I was like, I'm going to go to bed, I'll post it later. As of me recording this, the Rotten Tomatoes score is around 58%, so just slightly more than half the critics give it a positive review, but that's still not a great rating. I have to say, I like this film. And I was very surprised that I liked this film. And don't get me wrong, this isn't like a top 10 movie of the year or anything like that. But overall, I thought it was a vast improvement over the 2019 version of Lion King. And I think that the story is much better. It's a lot more interesting. And part of that is because this is really an original story. You know, we've seen different sequels and variations of the Lion King story. This does feel new. And does it have like the same tropes that most prequels have? Yes, where they kind of feel the need to over-explain every little detail that didn't really need to be explained. But at the core of this story is a story of two lions who form this brotherly bond to kind of stay connected with each other. And as they go on their journey, you see kind of what leads to their separation and what leads to just their overall setup for what would be the future stories that we know. And the story is really interesting. It was really well done. I won't spoil why or how, but there is some play with time in that sometimes it flashes forward to events after The Lion King. I thought those sequences were really for the more humorous parts of the movie, and they mostly worked for me. You kind of could tell they were used to alleviate when things would get kind of dark in the main storyline. They would kind of cut back to something lighter, which, I mean, worked for a lot of the younger audiences and everything, and, you know, only a couple times did that seem to directly undermine what was going on. For the most part, I thought it worked fine. There are one or two instances in the film where, without cutting back to the future, they do a tonal shift, and only one occasion did it really not work, and it was going into one of the musical numbers. Other than that, the film does a pretty decent job balancing tone. I do think the film is a little bit too long. It comes in at just right at 2 hours, I believe, and I think it could have been a little bit shorter, maybe even an hour 50, an hour 45. I think there are sections in the middle of the film that could have been removed just due to redundant story beats that didn't really lead anywhere. Now I'll kind of get into what I just really love about the film. One is the expressionism of the animals is slightly better than The Lion King. I still don't think it's where it should be, because part of my kind of issue with the 2019 Lion King is that the expressions were very stale. It is kind of, again, just going for that photorealism and not even kind of adding those animated expressions that were so vibrant in the animated classic Lion King. The expressions are slightly better. They are better in this movie. It's still not where they should have been, but it was a noticeably different and better in that regard. I think there are sequences in this film that are genuinely thrilling and exciting. Barry Jenkins directs the hell out of the movie, especially for a movie that he's not usually used to directing. And this comes as no surprise, as it was the same thing with the first Lion King, but the CGI is unbelievable. It looks fantastic. And again, the heart of the movie is just the journey that Mufasa and the character who would later be known as Scar, the journey that they go on together and how their paths cross and where they end up. It's really a tragic story, and you really buy kind of every beat that they give you in the telling of that story. I think Mufasa's relationship with just every character is also kind of the driving force behind the movie, as particularly his interactions with Scar's mother were very profound, and it was a real kind of almost lore building in the Lion King kind of world, and also just character building for the type of person Mufasa was kind of born and destined to be. So, you know, again, the movie has its issues, but overall, it's a huge improvement over the 2019 Lion King. I found myself really enjoying the movie and having a great time, and luckily, the audience that I saw it with also seemed to really enjoy the movie, which is just nice to see a movie with people who were liking it. Oh, and I didn't even mention the vocal performances. They're all pretty spectacular in this movie, which is also a huge improvement over the 2019 version, where I thought a lot of the vocal performances were kind of stale, which was disappointing considering the A-list cast that they had for those movies. Particularly Pierre as Mufasa. He did a great job stepping into the shoes of the great James Earl Jones, which the film does have a nice remembrance for in the beginning of the movie. So yeah, guys, color me surprised. I liked the movie. I didn't really think that I would. I'm being redundant now, but it's, again, just a huge improvement over the last Lion King movie that we got. And I'm wondering if they wanted to try more things like this, go in more in this direction of just a new story of something we want to see, and keep kind of learning from the mistakes of the previous film, make them a little bit better, express those faces. I want to see them have expressions. But yeah, again, what did you guys think about it? Did you get a chance to see Mufasa? I'd love to see what you think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.